It was a phenomenal result. In the end, given all of the excuses that were in place that the Bears didn't take advantage of, they instead went out and won a football game, and they did it with a very damaged defense with a lot of question marks about various players. It just seems sometimes like the injuries hit with surgical precision, and you have units that are down, and you can't believe that you don't have a starting linebacker able to go, and you don't have your secondary up to snuff. And guess what? It doesn't matter. They get the job done, and they manage to win yet another football game. We could talk all day about the quarterbacks they faced, but that was a victory and a glorious moment in their season.
Good morning, Mully. Yeah, it is another Victory Monday. Yeah, second week in a row we come in here. The Bears are in first place, and they have nothing to apologize for. They won that game, and they beat a winning team for the first time this season. They have their second four-game winning streak this season, 8 of the last 9. It's a good football team. It's the evidence of coaching, and it is a team prepared for a playoff run now. They are in the final 6 games of the season. But they are pursuing the playoffs, and that's not an unrealistic goal, and it isn't something that people should be surprised by. From J.J. Watt to Montez Sweat to Ben Johnson, they are all saying the same things about the Chicago Bears, is that this is not the same old Bears team that you're used to seeing find ways to lose. They are inventing ways to win.
Chicago guy made good. Mike Kafka tried to help his hometown. He tried to get his Giants over the Lions. They won on a field goal in overtime. The Packers beat the Vikings pretty easily, 23-6. So the Bears still sit atop the NFC North with the game on Friday. They play the Philadelphia Eagles at Philadelphia, a Philadelphia team that somehow managed to blow a 21-point lead and lose to the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah,
I thought I had that wrong.
That's a team that the Bears look at, and at one point on the schedule, you'd say, no chance. That's going to be a bleak Friday on Black Friday.
Oh, boy.
Now you don't know what to expect because of the way the Bears have been playing, the way they have. I think their defense persevered through all these injuries. They were as many as 6 backups were on the field at the same time.
Incredible.
In the second half of the game yesterday. Yep. And yes, that was the Pittsburgh Steelers without Aaron Rodgers, and no, Mason Rudolph doesn't threaten you in the same way. No. And the Steelers are still a winning football team. You have an offense that wasn't able to do what it wanted to do against the Bears defense full of backups. So the depth of this football team is coming through. They're doing the right things offensively well enough. You can't. There are always going to be mistakes in games that you regret, and Caleb Williams certainly had a couple of those on Sunday. But in the end, when he goes 19 for 35 and has the numbers that he has with 3 touchdowns,
3 touchdowns,
and we're talking about what he didn't do, that's a good sign because the standards remain high. And you continue to win as a football team. So yesterday was a very good day for the Bears.
You're down a starting offensive lineman. Your left tackle, Theo Benedict, out for the game. And Ozzie Trapillo, Mr. Hit the Wall in training camp, he ended up playing a good game. David, you look at it, there was 1 sack. It was the strip sack with the fumble that led to a touchdown in the end zone. That was the only sack that Caleb Williams took on the day. I think there was only 1 other QB hit. That was it. And you think about what that team is and how many good defensive linemen they have and how they come after the quarterback. I'll tell you what, it was a hell of a performance from the Bears' offensive line.
Yeah, it was, because you didn't really notice Ozzie Trapillo throughout the game. You really didn't. You didn't really find ways that he was overmatched, and you didn't find examples of him being on an island by himself. And that says a lot about a guy in his first NFL start on the side of the ball that he hadn't been playing since training camp. So I think you give him credit. It was a very good day for Bears rookies, really, because you look at Luther Burden contributed. Colston Loveland contributed. Kyle Monungai was the main focus of the running game for whatever reason on Sunday. And then Ozzie Trapillo comes through as well. So
Ruben Hippolyte's first start.
He got a chance. Yeah, he left the game and injured. And then the linebackers that did replace him, DeMarco Jackson and Amon D-Jack?
That's what the coach called him. I laughed at that.
We already got a nickname for a guy that's got one NFL start for the Bears.
Listen.
Practice squatter turned
15
Sunday
tackles.
hero.
15 tackles.
And the green dot. He wore the green dot.
He wore the green dot.
He called the helmet. He called the plays with the helmet. And then Amon Ogbagmamiga was everywhere.
Wow. Take a bow, Mr. David. That was beautiful.
He was everywhere, and he should take a bow because those linebackers, and we talked about last week, and I know it sounds kind of crazy to consider, but if you are going to lose a layer of your defense,
yes,
you were better off if you had to choose one, the linebacking core, because your job mainly is to clean up, is to make a tackle at the point of attack. And it's much easier. Nothing about playing defense in the NFL is easy, but it's much more manageable, I believe, if you have backup linebackers than if you have backup secondaries where you can get beat deep, your last line of defense, or if you're on the line of scrimmage and you get overwhelmed. So these guys did what they should do, but the plays were there for them to make. They just made them.
Montez Sweat got a game ball. Got a game ball. He had 2 sacks in that game, and now 7.5 for the year. All of a sudden, he's kind of moving up a little bit, and I thought, wow, he's really coming around. He's having a decent year. And then I saw that Myles Garrett is now, I think he's got 18 sacks.
Well, this year there's Myles Garrett and everybody else.
He had 3 in that game. They won that game. So you're kind of like,
And there's like 5 games to go.
Pity they couldn't get him.
For him, I believe.
Yeah. It's like he could break the record.
He likely will, and he's having one of those kind of historic seasons.
Yes, he is.
But Montez Sweat has been, since the bye week, as Ben Johnson said yesterday after the game, Montez Sweat has been a different pass rusher. And so whatever changed, and he talked about it. Yeah, they brought him to the podium, which I thought was a good idea, to give him that kind of platform and to let people hear from him that maybe aren't ordinarily used to hearing from him. He has maybe acclimated to Dennis Allen more, like he alluded to. He has also just gotten in a rhythm, and I think the pass rushers do that as well.
Sure.
But he has gotten back to the point where he's playing at the level that he played at when he came 2 years ago in the trade.
Yeah.
And that's a good sign for the Bears defensive front that needs him to be a multiplier when they're replacing so many people.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. They really needed him to have a good game, and he did. He did well. He got a couple of sacks. I thought it was extraordinary. He had a strip sack. The Bears scored off their takeaways, which was touchdowns off their takeaways, which was a big deal in that game. Mm-hmm. And if you want to include a 4th down stop, they scored on that too. So that was pretty good. But I would say that when you look at the entirety of his game, that strip sack was a huge play in it where he gets the quarterback, he gets the ball out, and Gervon Dexter tries to pick up the ball.
The dancing bear?
The dancing bear tries to pick up the ball. He's going to run it back, which would have been fun.
That would have been fun
to see an attempt.
But he couldn't do it.
But he couldn't pick it up. And then all you see is he is like pounding the air or the ground in such frustration. But behind him, Sweat is recovering the fumble he caused. So it was a huge play. At one point I thought that they got the ball back because I couldn't see Sweat because Dexter was so kind of animated in front of him.
The focus was on the disgust he was showing more than it was the play that Sweat was making.
It was hilarious.
Montez Sweat on that play was getting blocked, and then he made a one-arm basically move. It was really an athletic play.
Unbelievable play.
You forget just how dominant and athletic and imposing he can be when he is in the kind of run that he's in right now.
Strip sack with the fumble recovery that we didn't get to see. And pretty extraordinary moment in that game. Really a big,
it really
big
was.
moment.
And, just like Caleb Williams in the end zone with T.J. Watt down his throat. Mason Rudolph, it's hard to hold a quarterback too responsible when somebody is coming down and whacking them in the hand and dislodging the ball from their grip. And that's just one of those things that's why these guys get paid what they get paid.
Yes, no question.
Both T.J. Watt and Montez Sweat highly paid to do what they did yesterday.
And who was your guy? Who was the guy that they signed to the practice squad that we talked about last week? You brought out his name, Patrick Flowers or something. I forget his name. But he was the guy that portrayed Caleb in practice. He apparently did a pretty decent job because
they were ready for it.
Yeah, they were. They weren't over intimidated by the spin move and that's he couldn't get away from TJ Watt on that the one bad play in the end zone, but it made you wonder if
John Rhys Plumlee.
What was his name?
John Rhys Plumlee.
John Rhys?
Rhys, Arhys Plumlee.
Okay.
And he was a former college running quarterback.
He must have done a good job.
Wide receiver, and he prepared them for
scout team.
The elusiveness of Caleb Williams.
That's a good signing.
And T.J. Watt's prepared for the elusiveness of every quarterback.
Yeah.
And they were ready for Caleb Williams to try to escape and tried to be Houdini, but he could not make T.J. Watt disappear.
No, that's too bad.
No.
But, I mean, it was a great moment for the two brothers, J.J. in the booth and T.J. Becoming the greatest sacker in Watt family history.
In the family.
And that was really kind of a cute, wonderful moment. And I'm glad that it was just a moment. And it was wonderful to see J.J. cover his brother's loss for the first time in 5 games, covering that team.
No kidding.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, I do know what you mean, because if he had won,
it would have been.
Would have started to.
I would have been upset.
Not dread, but look at it a little closer. Like, oh, come on, CBS.
Yeah, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Can you keep the brothers separate?
Can you just wait till Thanksgiving for them to talk about how special of a bond they have?
Quit ruining my Sunday with the Watt
get
brothers.
That stuff out of here.
That's right.
But as it was, the way that he handled it, I thought, was actually pretty funny.
It was funny.
Didn't have a problem with it, because I also think that J.J. Watt, to me, he is energetic. He was on point. He explained things really clearly and well, and I think he's very good at what he does.
I think he prepares for a broadcast like he used to prepare for a game.
I agree.
He seems like he really has done his homework and he knows what he's saying, and you feel pretty impressed by him up and down the line.
Yeah, and he gave the Bears a lot of credit yesterday that I think they have earned.
Yeah.
Because every week that you win a game like this, and I think more so yesterday, frankly, even without Rodgers, you beat the Steelers, you gain a level of respect that maybe didn't come after previous victories. Because the teams that you beat previously weren't winning teams. They didn't have the stature of a Mike Tomlin coach team. And you weren't this late in a season. So here you are, 8-3. You are in first place, and you go back on the field, you win again to stay in first place, and that's impressive.
Yeah, and if there was any advice, it would probably be heartfelt to Mason Rudolph, and it would just be shave.
Yeah.
Get rid of that mustache.
What's his record with the mustache?
I don't know. It's just a little too.
You know, when a quarterback makes that kind of bad decision with his facial hair, that you got a chance.
Yeah.
He might throw you the ball. He might make another bad decision throughout the course of a game.
He's a throwback guy. He's from the 70s. I don't know what
Throw it back.
I don't know what he did for a living, but I have various theories.
Not a good look, right?
I was
not a good look
by the fullness of that mustache. Knock it off.
You were stunned by it?
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But feel free to shave.
Not a good look. Steelers did not have too much going. I think the passing game that they brought to town, or they used with Mason Rudolph, was more horizontal than vertical. DK Metcalf, you saw the threat that he can be. I thought they ran the ball a little bit better than the Bears would have hoped.
Yeah,
David,
I honestly, on our text exchange with everyone, I said something early on, which was like defense non-existent. It felt like there were just pockets of room all over the field, and it felt like they could run it all day, and mercifully they didn't. And mercifully the Bears seemed to improve a little bit, at halftime. They came back and played a lot better on defense in the second half. So kudos to Dennis Allen, to all the coaches up there, and to the players for being able to adapt a little bit.
I think that Dennis Allen deserves a lot of credit because of the volume of players that he's had to get ready for action. And you look at the attrition.
Outrageous.
The biggest opponent Sunday wasn't necessarily the Steelers as it was attrition.
Yeah, I agree.
It was a battle that the Bears won, but it was because these guys, on short notice, were prepared for whatever challenge they faced. And I don't know. You have to look at it again to know for sure, but you feel like they did not come at Mason Rudolph with as many different types of blitzes as they typically do on a Sunday. They did not maybe try to confuse the quarterback because they did not want to confuse themselves.
The players. Yeah, I agree with you. I when you talk about attrition of schedule, it's a terrible but a very meaningful idea, and it happens. And aren't you a little concerned about Friday's game? I mean, we'll find out as the week goes on who's up and running and who isn't. Can they bring someone back? Is there not enough time? How will that go? But I think there is a genuine concern now that Tremaine Edmunds is put on IR. And, you don't know how long that injury lasts. He's got a groin injury. You don't know the severity of it.
It's at least going to be 4 weeks.
Minimum 4 weeks.
Ben Johnson was asked after the game.
I was told 4 to 6.
Yeah, I think groin injuries are likely 4 to 6 week injuries.
And that could
you also don't know about
to the end of the season.
Yeah. And Tremaine Edmunds is somebody that we don't have a lot of experience in him coming back from an injury.
Right.
He could be a fast healer.
He could be a very fast healer.
He could be a slow healer. I think 4 to 6 is conservative.
Fairly young. Yeah.
4 is maybe what they'll be pushing for because it will be something to play for. I believe, though, that Friday, you want to be smart in the way you approach this game.
Yes.
You're playing the defending Super Bowl champion.
Yes.
You're playing a team that's coming off a bad loss to the Cowboys. That's going to be focused, one would think. And you're the Bears team that right now you're not conceding anything.
No.
But you also are going to be intelligent about what you're playing for in December.
Well,
and so if you don't want to rush anybody back, if somebody is,
you're talking Jalen Johnson and Tyler Gordon, who were both practiced on Thursday, and there was this kind of hint, could they actually play in this game? And they did not. And that's a good idea. You want those guys back for good, not back for
I agree with
20 plays, whatever.
There's a growing belief that they're going to play on Friday.
And I'll tell you what, if they're ready to come back, that would be a huge boost to the Bears, no shadow of a doubt. But as we are talking about, if you don't play them on Friday, you pick up roughly, 10 days, almost 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Before you play the Packers, which would be a nice spot for them back. I'm not saying if they're ready to come back, bring them back. I just don't know how close they are to return.
I believe that too. I believe in the NFL, even though it's hard sometimes, or maybe I should say it's easy to justify taking your time and bringing guys back, especially with the Bears who have brought guys back maybe before they were ready, or so it appears. You would be cautious. At the same time, there is an urgency, I think, that's created within Kyler Gordon and Jalen Johnson. They want to get back on the field.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
And watching this happen without them.
And listen, I understand that impulse and I understand how they feel, but that should have no bearing whatsoever on a medical decision.
That might have been this week.
I hope you're right.
In terms of the context of the injury return, they might have been ready to go. There was some people in the building that thought that Sunday was the day to bring them back. Yesterday, they were ready, and they thought yesterday was the day we'll wait 1 more week.
Well, they stole a week there because they won the game.
They won.
I don't know if they're going to be able to beat the Eagles
in
Philadelphia the same way that they beat a visiting Pittsburgh team.
I don't know either, but I'll say this again. It's the second Monday in a row we're coming in here and talking about what the Bears didn't have on defense, but what they did in Nahshon Wright. Yeah. So impressive. That is one guy on this defense that I think deserves as much credit as anybody in that secondary. I know Byard is the glue and Brisker had the deflection and all the things. Nahshon Wright, though,
let me ask
has been a revelation.
Did that interception, that looked like a 50-50 ball.
Yes.
And he went up with his left hand and pulled the ball in and got his feet in. And that was an incredible moment in the game. That's his 5th interception on the year. He had 1 in his career previously before coming to Chicago, and now he has a co-lead. But I'm wondering, David, do you believe that impacted the Steelers' passing game?
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Okay.
I said that in the press box, and I believe it to be true. That was the first pass that Mason Rudolph threw.
And it felt like they didn't want him throwing any more of those.
Because Arthur Smith saw that.
Yes.
And it wasn't a perfectly placed pass that it has to be. I'm sorry that Aaron Rodgers might have put it right at where it needed to be. Mason Rudolph could not and did not.
They got shy about throwing the ball, either whatever you want to call it, down the field, up for grabs, whatever way you want to term it.
They were not throwing any more 50-50 balls. Everything was going to be 80-20 because everything became horizontal.
That way, didn't it?
And it was a dink and dunk Steeler approach that didn't threaten the Bears in the way that a legitimate downfield passing game would have.
Incredibly impactful interception, in my opinion.
Nahshon Wright has been as valuable as any defensive back they have.
That's saying something.
And he has. Who saw that coming? When we talk about the evidence of coaching, it's not
Harris.
Exactly. Well, Matt, I know you're right. It's not just Ben Johnson we're talking about. It's these guys are showing growth and doing things you didn't think they could do. Every position group has one of those type of guys.